Welcome back. All right, so today's career video, we're going to talk about Valeri Bure. Yep, Valeri Bure, a number 33 pick in 1992, and this was one that kind of bothered Canucks fans. I remember we were all kind of like, hey, we got Pavel. Why don't they draft his brother? Very quickly, it became clear they were not going to draft his brother in 1992. They wanted a big center. This is one of the reasons, this is one of the main reasons, one of the founding reasons why I became a vociferous opposer of drafting by position. The Canucks drafted Libor Polasek at 21. Valeri Bure went at 33. And the Canucks, after the drafting of Polasek, said if Bure was that good, he wouldn't have gone at 33. Which, okay, but Polasek, the big center they wanted, never played a game in the National Hockey League. So it was one of those things that stuck with me. So, of course, I'm going to follow Valeri Bure, who's drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, which people know that at the time I wouldn't have been a fan of him going to Montreal. So 94-95, he makes his debut with Montreal. Sadly, did not get to play on the 92-93 team. But 94-95, he plays 24 games with Montreal after what was a very good season for him in the AHL, I believe, with Sherbrooke. 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points for him. So gets his feet wet at the NHL level. 95-96. Now, this is a big year for the Montreal Canadiens, right? This is the year that now the Quebec Nordiques have moved, and they would end up trading Patrick Roy. So it kind of overshadows that Bure had a decent rookie season. 77 games, 22 goals, 20 assists, 42 points. He finishes 10th in Calder voting. And in the playoffs, he adds an assist in 6 games. 96-97 in 64 games, scores 14 goals, 21 assists, 35 points in those 64 games. In the playoffs, he adds 1 assist in 5 games. So coming out of that season, I mean, it's, you're still mad if you're a Canuck fan that you didn't get to see him, but we're already into Pavel not being all that happy in Vancouver, and Vancouver kind of being a mess. So 97-98, 50 games played with Montreal, 7 goals, 22 assists, 29 points. And I guess they just get impatient with Bure. The one thing is that much like his brother, offense is there, the foot speed is there, the defense is spotty, right? So February 1st, he's traded for Jonas Höglund and Zarli Zalapski to the Calgary Flames. And if you're looking at that and thinking, that seems underwhelming, well, it was. Because the numbers from Valeri Bure to that point in his career, they were underwhelming as well. 97-98, then with the Flames, plays 16 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. Calgary's going through a rough patch here, too, as a franchise. Definite identity issues here. 80 games played, though, the following season for him, and he really improves offensively. 26 goals, 27 assists, 53 points. Then in 99-2000, plays 82 games, 35 goals, 40 assists, 75 points. Plays in the All-Star game. His 308 shots end up being 4th in the National Hockey League. Again, this is a hallmark of both of the Bure brothers. They shoot a lot from all over. The one thing is, he's having some battles. He's battling with Don Hay first, and then Greg Gilbert, coaches of the Flames, who want him to play some defense. And this is, I remember the joke about at the end of the season, Bure gets to meet his goaltender, right? And that was Pavel, but you could say the same of Valeri. And so what can happen is when you have a player that the defensive end of the game just isn't where you want it to be, they score all these goals and points, and then they may be less receptive to a coach telling them, hey, come back and play defense. They may look at the totals and say, well, I scored you guys 2 goals and an assist last night. I really don't think I need to worry about shot blocking or coming back to my own zone. I'll just hang around the neutral zone and wait for that pass. 2000-2001, what would prove to be his final season in Calgary. 78 games, 27 goals, 28 assists, 55 points. So I'm wearing a Flames jersey because his most successful seasons were in Calgary. Even though there were some frustrations from coaching staffs with him. June 24th, he was traded for Jason Weimer in exchange for a 2001 second and Rob Niedermeyer. Rob Niedermeyer, of course, a very high draft pick for Florida, part of that hardworking Florida team that went to the Stanley Cup final in 96. But by the time you reach 2001, Florida's looking for a different identity. Now, as a Canuck fan, excitement, I had that for the Florida Panthers because now you've got the Bure brothers together. What can they do? We never really find out. Knee surgery, arthroscopic knee surgery for an injury he suffers, ends up limiting him to 31 games and it limits his offense. 8 goals, 10 assists, 18 points. The 02-03 season, he's limited because of a hairline wrist fracture during the 02-03 season. So a hairline wrist fracture really impairs his shot. And so if you've got a player who's suspect defensively and his shot is no longer available to him, you get a guy who has 46 games played, 5 goals, 21 assists, 26 points. March 11th, he's traded to the St. Louis Blues with a 2004 fifth-round pick in exchange for Mike Van Ryn. Then he, in St. Louis, plays 5 games, just 2 assists, and in the playoffs, no goals there either, just 2 assists in 6 games. And then they waived him on June 24th, and on June 25th, he was claimed on waivers by the Florida Panthers. So Florida takes him back. So to start the 03-04 season, he feels good for the first time in a while. And it shows. 55 games in Florida, 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points. The offense is back. And on March 8th of that season, he is traded for a 2004 second-round pick, Andrew Bagnall, to the Dallas Stars. So Dallas, in 03-04 with Valeri Bure, 13 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. In the playoffs, he adds 3 assists in 5 games. Now, after that season is done, he's a free agent. He ends up being signed in August, on August 12th of 2005 by the LA Kings. So the Kings have plans for him. The problem is that he suffers a back injury in the preseason, so he doesn't get to make his debut with the LA Kings. And then there's hip surgery as well, so he's nursing injuries. And as I've mentioned in videos recently, once a player's had hip surgery, career's probably over. It could very well be over. And in the case of Valeri Bure, with all the injuries adding up and all of that, and wanting to have a really good quality of life after hockey, he does choose retirement at age 31 rather than coming out and playing for the LA Kings or even making the attempt. So he ends up playing 621 games in the National Hockey League. It's too short of a career. I'll put it into the careers that are too short playlist, because you can see that starting in 01-02, he was really negatively impacted by injuries, and it really limited both his goals and the amount of games he ends up playing. He married Candace Cameron in 1996. They're still together, as far as I can tell, still together, 26 years and all that fun stuff. But yeah, in 621 games, 174 goals, 226 assists, 400 points. In the playoffs, he had 7 assists in 22 games. So he doesn't play very much in the playoffs. He's usually with teams that are having their own struggles along the way, which may have limited his visibility. He did end up playing in that All-Star game in 2000. That was the only All-Star game he played in. And yeah, I mean, he was an offense guy. He played on what was known as the Smurf line in Montreal. He was 5'10" himself. He played with Saku Koivu, who was 5'10", and Oleg Petrov, who was 5'9". I remember Montreal getting wiped out by Boston in the playoffs at one point and going smaller. So Montreal has not been shy about being, willing to pick up smaller players, and that was the case when Valeri Bure was there as well. He did represent Russia internationally at the Olympics. In 1998, he won silver, and he won bronze in 2002. 1994 at the World Juniors, he wins the bronze medal there. So 3 medals internationally for Bure. Sadly, no Stanley Cup runs or anything of that nature. And also, sadly, he didn't play at his best with his brother, so we never really got to see how well Pavel and Valeri could potentially mesh on the ice together. Because, again, Valeri wasn't 100%, and we were getting to the stage where Pavel's body started breaking down on him as well. Knee injuries, right? So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.